Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Jay Moore here, the healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. And today, here's what we're talking about. Does your calling find you or you find it? Today, we're going to look at just kind of like, why do people say no to their calling? And, just the fact that there is a calling, where does it come from? And so today, we're just going to look at some things that just could help us to think more about what a calling really is and why everybody should at least accept the fact that there is an assignment. And when that assignment shows up, that you say yes. So guys, let's jump right into this. But before we do that, I just want to invite you to what we're doing next week on December 12th. We'll be doing again for the second time, the Good Accounting Challenge, guys. This challenge is the premier challenge. It's the premier challenge that teaches you and helps you to focus on the accounting that you love, not the accounting that you hate. Look, most people, when I talk to people about accounting, most people are like, oh my goodness, my head is about to explode. Yeah, me too. I get it, right? That's why many business owners, especially small business owners, they don't focus on crunching their numbers. They don't even focus on making sure their bookkeeping is done. So we're not going to focus on those aspects of accounting. We're going to focus on the aspects that help you to grow as a person and as a business. Hopefully you join goodaccountingchallenge.com, tickers down below. So let's jump right into this. Calling. I love the analogy when I think I talked about this before, Mission Impossible. Whenever Tom Cruise got the call, or even James Bond, but Tom Cruise especially, he had to accept the mission, right? And when he accepted the mission, and all the time, even if he didn't accept it, but he always did, that communication would self-destruct because that was for his eyes only. I want you to think about a mission. I want you to think about a calling, not a mission, but a calling. A calling is for your eyes only. A calling is for you and you alone. It's not for me and you. See, because even though anyone, and I've seen few people online is, the healthy accountant, right? A few people have attempted that. But here's the thing. Everybody can't attempt it the same way. Just like if we both got the same assignment and we were told to go do the same thing, we probably would do it a little bit different because of what we've learned up until that point. So let's think about this thing called calling, and does it find you? Does the calling find you? I want to just kind of talk briefly about that. The calling could find you. I believe that many people's callings have found them. How do I know that? Well, I can think of someone named Jeremiah. You know who Jeremiah is? Jeremiah's calling found him. He was not thinking about being a prophet. He was not working on being a prophet. He was not studying to be a prophet. He was this person that was living his life, and all of a sudden the calling showed up, and it was like, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. For I know the plans I have for you to prosper you, to give you a future and hope. Here it is, Jeremiah. Jeremiah's calling showed up. It found him. He wasn't looking for it. Now, let's think about the person who may be looking. Like, are you looking for your calling? I don't know that I was looking for my calling, but I know that I was looking for something. See, a lot of times what happens is once we turn directions, when we think about a direction, if you're going in a direction today, is that the absolute direction that's going to lead you to where it is that you ultimately would like to be? A lot of us, at least for me, Back in 2011, I turned 40. It was unequivocally no. I'm not going in the direction. Man, I was going in the direction, and I had momentum. Guys, look, momentum. Check this out. You know what momentum is. We talked about this a couple of days and a few times before. Momentum is is when you're no longer in inertia. An object in motion stays in motion until something happens. I was in motion going the other way. I was going away from my calling. I didn't know what it is, but I was going away from it. It wasn't until an outside force stopped me. And that outside force, once I stopped, see, sometimes we have to stop. And especially with the Good Accounting Challenge, a person would have to, people have to stop and say, wait a second, I started at the wrong place. Think about if you did not start at the the starting line in your business. If you didn't start at the starting line, then you would be disqualified. Yeah. If you didn't start at the starting line, you'd be disqualified, because they'd be like, wait a second, you did not start when you were supposed to start the way you were supposed to start. So we got to make sure that when we are thinking about doing something different, sometimes we just got to stop because the momentum was taking us away. Now we want to go towards something else. I didn't know that I was going towards a calling. I just said, well, let me change directions. That's how you find your calling, when you change direction. Say, I'm going to go towards that way because I feel something pulling me. Do you feel something pulling you? Do you feel something pulling you? Look, it could be that you want to write a book. It could be that you're saying to yourself, I want to write a book. Oh my goodness, man, I feel this book in me. Man, I feel words coming out of me, but I don't know if I'm not sure if this is the right time. Your calling has been knocking, saying, hey, can you please let me out? Can you please take me to where I know that you really would like to be? That's how you find your calling. You go towards where you are being pulled. See, but here's the problem. There's the age-old, well, I got to work, Jay. Jay, I've got to make some money, man. Oh my goodness, man. I've got this career, and the career is a little bit different than where I'm being called. It doesn't mean you stop doing that. It just means that you have to do them both. That's all it means. Guys, I did not stop being an accountant to be the healthy accountant and then to ultimately find good accounting. I did not stop being an accountant. I had to keep being an accounting, even though I was like, I don't know if financial accounting is my calling. I didn't think financial accounting was a calling, but I said, I'm not going to stop doing it because I can make money doing it. I can not just make money, I can still help people when I really understand the value behind accounting. Once I understood the value in accounting, I said, I didn't learn that in school. School didn't teach me that. School just tried to teach me financial statements and all the theories behind it, audits and reviews, all this stupid stuff. That's stupid. Anybody can do those things. But can people discover value? I was like, man, that's something to account for. So, but it wasn't until, check this out, guys. I'm going to let you go in like 3 minutes. It wasn't until I turned. See, remember momentum. You're not going to get to the result you would like until you stop the momentum in the other direction. I'm going to say that again. You're not going to get to where you would like until you stopped the momentum of where you're already going. See, because where you're already going is going away from the calling. The calling is pulling you. But you're saying, oh man, I want to write this book. Oh man, I want to start this business. Oh man, I want to start a family maybe. Oh man, I really want to do this other thing. Oh man, I'd like to lose weight and look better. But the momentum of the cake. Guys, I'm telling you, this Thanksgiving, I'm telling you, it was out of control. We had Thanksgiving, plus we had a 80th party for my mother-in-law, and there was cakes and every brownies, ice cream. I mean, all up in the house. I'm not telling you I didn't eat it. I'm so glad it's ultimately gone, because that momentum, just one of the things that's helped me over the past 8 years is I try not to bring all the stuff in the house. Just so that I can manage my space. But I'm just glad most of it, we still got some ice cream in there that some of it, I think I'm gonna just throw, I think one of them I'll just throw out. That's how I operate. I would just throw something out, even though it's good. I'm like, nope, nope. You know what? I won't tell anybody. And they'll say, well, where's ice cream? It's gone, man. I threw that stuff out. So here's the thing. Does your calling find you? Jeremiah is proof. Your calling can find you even when you least expect it. Can you find your calling? Right? Yes, I'm proof of that, because it wasn't until I turned and says, But here's another thing about calling I want to mention before we go here. The calling that was on the children of Israel, the calling that was on the whole Jewish nation, the calling that was on the Hebrews, there was a calling on the whole nation. And it started with one man. It started with one guy. Abraham. I love Abraham because he's the guy that was going one direction. He got the call. When he got the call, he says, wait a second, I can be rich. He says, I can be rich. I can have it all. He says, man, shoot, what you talking about? I'm giving up my family. I'm giving up the home I got. I'm going to wherever the calling is asking me to go. And that one decision of one guy, the calling found him. He was not looking for it, but he acted. Guys, when the calling comes for you, will you act? That's your question for the day. When the calling comes for you, will you act? Will you move? And lastly, if you find it, if you feel the pull of your calling, will you change directions and go towards that calling? Guys, you got two choices. It's either going to find you or it's already pulling you. What's it going to be? Choose your adventure. And guys, here's what will happen. You will account for your life, because God is all about accounting. He's all about accounting for your time and what you do with it. So guys, let's use our time to become the person that God created us to be, find our callings, discover our callings, allow our callings to find us so that we can do the thing that God created us to do. I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Jay Moore here, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.